Hello. So once you have gone over the Pear Deck with students, I'm going to show you how to actually use the tools. So then students get a hands-on experience of using the text help read and write tools. This it can be found on Text Help's website. It just has a symbol of what the tool is and what it does. So I really love this table when you're first starting out to know what everything does because there's a ton of features and knowing what each of them do can really be helpful. So again, this is just on their website, and it's helpful to know what every single tool does. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to open up a Google Doc, and we use Freckle. So any website you can open up, but I'm going to use Freckle because that's what our school uses. So on Text Help, I have students just write an incorrect sentence and then just kind of playing with starting a sentence. So once they do that, we turn on the check-in. This is brand new. It tells you when a word is spelled wrong or if it is not correct. So how is you is not correct. It should be how are you. So students learn how to use this tool when correcting their sentences and writing papers. So very good tool to help students check their work. The next one is the Predictor. So wherever I put my mouse, it's going to give me ideas of what I should say next.
Just.
If I hover over, it's going to read the word. And then it keeps going. So I can click.
Don't.
And then I tell students, make sure
Think.
you read that sentence to make sure it makes sense. I can also go here, and it can give me ideas of different words I should have used instead of problem. So for example, like on the Freckle, if I was writing a story about desserts, a lot of students might put deserts. So this would tell me which word is desserts and which one's deserts, because students can hover over it and listen to it. A lot of kids like that tool just because when they're writing, they can sometimes get stuck, and it helps them to think, okay, what word should I use next? The next ones we're going to open up is the Dictionaries. Usually they open right on top of each other. I just tell students to click the gray and move it over, so it's not hard to understand. So they just click on a word on a Google Doc, and they can see the picture and they can see the definition. It also reads it to them.
Problem. Noun. A question that can be solved by means.
And then kids can also drag the image to the Google Doc, and there's their image. They can keep going with different problems. Same thing on Freckle when they open up both dictionaries. They can click on words. This time they have to highlight the words on websites. They can't just click. And they also can't drag their picture to the website. That can be done on a Google Doc. So very cool tool as students are reading. They can use the dictionary to know any words that they're really struggling with to help them gain an understanding. The next one is the text-to-speech. So just by hitting play and highlighting.
How are you? The problem wasn't just don't.
So they can hit play and it will read the sentence to them or the paragraph. Same thing on here.
Strolling through the grocery store, it is hard to resist walking down the frozen foods aisle and stopping at the ice cream section. Cold, creamy ice cream is a favorite dessert shared by people of all ages and backgrounds. You probably have your favorite flavors, but there are an endless number of ice cream varieties and brands. One famous manufacturer is Ben & Jerry's, a brand known for its funky flavors and inventive ingredients.
So then students just hit pause when they're ready to stop or they need to scroll down. They can hit pause. Also, they cannot use any other tool while they're in this. They have to hit stop. So the hover button is really cool too. This is only on websites. If they hover over,
Strolling
it's going to
through the
read what they
grocery
hovered
store,
over.
it is hard to resist.
That is not on the Google Doc. And to turn it off, just turn it off. Make sure purple means it's on, and then just double click it and it will turn off. The next one's the screenshot reader. They can take a picture of the paragraph. It does take a while to load.
Strolling through the grocery store, it is hard to resist walking down the frozen foods aisle and stopping at the ice cream section. Cold, Creamy ice cream is a favorite dessert shared by people of all ages and backgrounds. You probably have your favorite flavors, but there are an endless number of ice cream varieties and brands. One famous manufacturer is Ben & Jerry's, a brand known for its funky flavors and inventive ingredients.
Sometimes that's not correct. Like that said avors, it's flavors. So you just have to tell students that this tool is not always accurate. So just to be careful and follow along as they're reading. To read here, they just hit play. If they are done, they hit the X. And it's the same thing on a Google Doc.
How are you? The problem wasn't just toned.
Again, play again or X, they're done. This tool will convert audio to like an MP3. So all you would do is click it and then hit this button. Mine's still downloading, so it does kind of take a while, but it will just take it and download it. Same thing on a website. You just highlight it and then you click the audio maker. The next one is really cool. So this is called the web search. I highlighted problems. I made it blue and I click that button and it searches Google for that word. Same thing on freckle. You have to turn this button on. So to do that, you click the down button, options. This is where students will find settings. They can change their voice if they don't want to hear Ava. They can change the speed. They can click on continuous reading, their translator, what they would like to have it translate to, predictions, to check it, screen masking. This is where they would change the color. Languages, features, this is where you would turn on the web search. So you have to scroll down and right here, it's turned off on default. You need to turn it on. So all they do is have to click it on and then you can see the about if you need to. Hit OK. The next tool is the screen masking. So here's that in the settings is where students could change the color. It kind of has a flashlight to help them follow along to the story. And so they don't get distracted by all the text and the words. Same thing on a Google Doc as they're reading. The next one is the dictation. So hello, how are you? You can see that right there, my cursor was right there. And it's saying everything that I was speaking, but it depends on where your cursor is. So you want to make sure that you put your cursor probably down here. Hi, how are you? And it will get everything that students are saying. So this is good for brainstorming as students are thinking of ideas. They can click this button and it will type everything that they're thinking and then they can go back and rewrite their story. The next one is the translator. So once they have a word highlighted and hit the translator, this is in Spanish. Sí. And students can hear the word in Spanish. I just tell students to look at it right now. They're not going to need it probably in 5th or 6th grade. But when they become in junior high and high school and start taking this foreign language, it might be helpful to know. And again, it works the same way on a website. The next one's the highlighters. So as students highlight, they have to highlight the word. And then they click the different colors for the different words that they want to highlight. And it works the same way on a Google Doc. Black would mean to get rid of it. So let's say I wasn't supposed to highlight that word. I hit the double click and hit the black one and it goes away. Okay, so I've highlighted a couple different words. This button right here is going to collect all the highlights to a Google Doc. So I want it sorted by color because I don't want it by position. I want all my yellows together, all my blues, all my greens, and all my purples. I could just say I only want blue and yellow. I could just say I want all the colors. You get to click what colors you want. So you might want to make a key for what the colors mean. Maybe yellow is vocabulary words the students didn't know. Maybe blue is notes. So all I hit is OK. And it is going to become into a Google Doc. You do have to click allow and your name when you do that. And here's all the different things. So now students can use Google tools. So they can use that Explorer tool to help them. So this one is making a vocabulary list right here, the 3 dots and the 3 lines. So let's go ahead and go back to the highlighters. So here's everything I've highlighted. Students can use the Explorer tool. So the first one was stopping. They can pull images to their Google Doc to help them understand that word and what it means. They can also search the web if they needed to. They can also search their drive for anything that they wrote stopping in. And then they could also write notes about why they highlighted this word, and then it will help them as they're writing other papers. Okay, same thing with the other words. Once they click here, it will take them back to the article that they were at. So it's pulling all the words that they highlighted into this Google Doc, and students can use it to help them provide evidence for when they do start writing essays or papers. They also, a quick tip you might want to know is they might want to write what the topic is. So this was ice cream, because it's going to get a ton of highlight untitled if they do not title what they're actually doing. So once we click that vocab list, this is what it's creating. It does take like 10 seconds to get students to add it to their list. Same thing, you're going to probably want to retitle it. Because if not, they're going to have a ton of vocabulary lists in their Google Drive. And then it says grocery and the meaning and the symbol. Students could add notes here. They could write grocery in a sentence. Students could also pull images from Google using the Explorer tool. They could use Google Draw and create their own tools and insert those. Tons of different things that students can use using the vocabulary list. They can also take these words and create their own Quizlets. And then you're making the vocabulary personalized to their own needs, because not every student would probably have the same list since students are at different levels. Okay. And then the last feature is this guy reading. So on here, clicking it, and I click him, it's going to convert it to another page. And this is the Fluency Read Aloud. So as you can see, it took the whole paragraph website from Freckle, and students can record them reading it, sending it to the teacher, and then the teacher could grade the fluency of the student rather than having every student type. So what they would do is they hit this button. Strolling through the store, it is hard to resist walking down the food aisles and at the ice cream section. They can hear it play, and then they can send it to their teacher. So then they would hit yes, and then it emails their teacher their recording. The next one that is only on a Google Doc is the voice note. As students are writing, I could say a sentence. You get 1 minute to record your feedback to the student. So great job, check your spelling, sentences, and check some of your work. Insert. It does take a while to load, but once it does, it becomes a Google comment, and students can listen to the feedback that you just gave them. So there it is. They hit play. So great, some of your work. And they can hear the answers and then hit resolve once they've made corrections. The simplified page, I don't know if it's going to work with Freckle, but this will take a website and make it smaller to the text. So that's just going to kind of summarize, and they can add more or they can add less to help them understand the writing. Again, it probably will not work on Freckle, but it does work on some websites. So those are all the tools that I go over with students. We just go down the list. And again, this is really helpful. It's on the Text Help website. And you can go through and see what it means as you're using it. Also, you can see the PDF because it is different. So here's the PDF. They don't have as many options as the Google and the website, but they still do have enough options to help students. Okay, if you have any questions, do not feel hesitated to ask me. I hope your students enjoy using the Google Read 'em.